What does it mean to look good enough for Hollywood? That is a question that sadly has mystified many over the years, and it's shattered many dreams as a result. There have been many in the entertainment field who went to great lengths to improve their looks so that they could be better on camera or keep their spotlight for longer. And while it may have worked for some, it turned into a nightmare for others, highlighting that plastic surgery isn't anything but a temporary thing and not something all should do. So let's take a look at the actors who underwent dramatic plastic surgery. Priscilla Presley. Let's start off with a certain type of cautionary tale about the dangers of plastic surgery. For the one and only Priscilla Presley, she will forever be known as the wife of Elvis Presley, even though he has long since passed. Even with his passing, she remained prominent in the entertainment industry, including being in various shows and films. But the reason she ended up on this list was because of an incident she erroneously caused on herself. Specifically, to get something fixed on her face, she went to an unlicensed practitioner of medicine, something she should have never done, and had injections into her face featuring a substance that was never meant to be used for cosmetics in any meaningful way. The result of this error was that her face warped a bit and became very uneven in some areas. It was so bad that she had to get other treatments and surgeries just to try and fix the damage that had been done to her. Unfortunately, it wasn't a success in full, and even now, you can see how the surgeries have affected her and how the look of Priscilla hasn't aged as gracefully as one would have hoped. It might seem like the medical field is full of answers to prayers due to experimental treatments and various other miracle products that are allegedly out there, but if you don't consult with a licensed medical expert, you could do serious harm to your body. Plus, there are people out there like Dr. Oz who are just trying to push medical products for the sake of money and not for the sake of actually helping people. And yet, even with all that Priscilla went through, she's hardly the worst case of plastic surgery on this list. Number 9. Jocelyn Wildenstein. In many ways, the case of Jocelyn Wildenstein is one that should serve as a horror story more than anything else. She didn't even get the plastic surgery to improve her own looks, but to make herself look more appealing to her husband, which should tell you quite a lot right there. Just as important was that she didn't just get plastic surgery. She got numerous kinds of plastic surgery that augmented her so much that she now looks like, well, this. Does she even look like the person she once was? No, she doesn't. And that's just as horrifying as the literal result of her work. Now, in theory, a single plastic surgery can do wonders for someone if done properly. And there are people who need plastic surgery after certain accidents and incidents that leave them with scars that they rightfully want gone. However, in her case, she just kept going back to get them, and each time, her natural look and figure changed until she was someone very unfamiliar, and not to mention, more horrifying to look at when you see just how far she went under the knife. Just as sad as all of this is the fact that Jocelyn Wildenstein is actually proud of how she looks, even though she looks nothing like her original beautiful form. She says she did nothing wrong by doing this, and you have to wonder if this is just part of the brainwashing that her husband did on her to make her think this way. And you have to wonder, is this just part of the brainwashing that her husband did on her? Yes, we know that's a bit callous to say, but when you see the before and after pictures, you know that this woman is clearly not all there mentally, given what she put her body through for someone else's approval. Number 8. Meg Ryan. While not as bad as our last entry, the tale of Meg Ryan is another poignant example of what happens when an actress wants to do nothing more than preserve her youthful looks for the camera. Meg Ryan is easily one of America's sweethearts when it came to her roles in films like You've Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally, and more. She had the looks and the charm to win over audiences and critics alike. She literally had it all, until she decided that she didn't. She was told to try and get procedures done to try and keep her youthful. And over time, the procedures took a toll on her skin and face. As you can see now, she looks nothing like the leading star of many films that help define certain genres, and instead looks like someone who has had serious work done to her and almost isn't even trying to hide it. The reason this hurts is that Meg Ryan is hardly the only actress in Hollywood to go and be told to be youthful to try and maintain fame and popularity. It's happened to many on this list and numerous others that we won't be able to get to in this video. It's terrible because it's implying that growing old makes you uglier, when you honestly don't know how you'll look when you get old, until you're that age. There is beauty in growing old and seeing your body age, and that allows you the freedom to sometimes do other roles that you couldn't do if you're looking 40 in a 60-year-old body. Yes, there are times when you might want to touch things up, but it should be used as a resort to truly fix things, not attempt to fix things and hope it works. Number 7. Courtney Cox. Sadly, there are plenty of other actresses to name that have willingly gone under the knife to try and ensure that their fame is not lost, and just as sadly, one of them comes from one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, Friends. Courtney Cox played Monica on Friends, and her looks helped her stand out from the pack, even when she was placed right next to Jennifer Aniston. She was there from the beginning, and there until the end, and she had a long career afterward. However, part of that career led to her trying to do things like fillers and anti-aging work on her face and body to try and maintain a youthful appearance on camera like she had during Friends. The results were clear to see, as she didn't even come close to looking as natural as she did in the past, and the more time that passed, the look she strove for became a hindrance to her mentally and emotionally. As such, she took the very brave action of not continuing with them, and instead having some of the fillers she had injected into her dissolved. We wish that many others like Courtney Cox would take this step and attempt to undo much of what they have done to themselves, as it truly doesn't help them and only makes them a part of an industry that tries to prioritize beauty over real people. Number 4. Angelica Houston. This next one is actually perfectly timed to talk about, because her family has been in the headlines a lot recently. That's right, we're talking about Angelica Houston, who had a very famous role in the 90s Addams Family movies as the one and only Morticia Addams. Her unique visage was perfect for the matriarch of the family, and it also led to her getting many other roles over time, including in more recent films, like with the John Wick franchise. However, as time went on, it was clear that she had been doing alterations to her looks, even if she wasn't admitting it. The natural lines that she would once be proud of were gone, and many wondered how many treatments she had had over the years. While she may not have gone down as far as certain others on this list did, that doesn't mean that it was the right call to make in the first place. Hers is just as much a cautionary tale as others, because she stepped away from the natural looks that made her an icon on screen, and instead decided to follow the path that others foolishly went down. It may not be our right to judge, but we do have the right to caution to try and prevent similar cases. Number 3. Heidi Montag. We definitely have to put Heidi Montag on this list for the most basic of reasons. Not only did she get plastic surgery, but she didn't even try to hide it, and even posted about how many she did at a very young age. At just 23 years old, Heidi decided to undergo a complex 10-part surgery that would overhaul her looks. To reiterate, she was just 23 years old, and all of those surgeries, that happened in one day. Not only was that reckless, it was dangerous, and sometimes the body can't handle that much work done to it at one time, yet she went forward with it anyway. And she definitely paid the price for what she did. For example, after all the surgeries on her face and body were done, she faced incredible pain, which should have been made clear to her by her doctors, but either they didn't inform her, or she didn't care. Second, because of her massive overhaul, she didn't look like the natural beauty she was pre-surgery, and that led to her becoming the talk of many magazines and tabloids, putting a massive spotlight on her life when it was already on her due to her fame. While she would do some serious self-reflection later on and admit that she did too much too fast, it was already too late in many respects. The work that was done to her was so extensive that it couldn't be undone. Whether she wanted it or not, or wanted to admit it or not, she became the poster child for people who wanted to drastically change their looks, no matter the cost to them. That's not exactly something to be proud of. Number 2. Simon Cowell. Didn't see that one coming, did you? It would have been very easy to point out all the women who have had plastic surgery done to them over the years, but the problem with plastic surgery and the views of Hollywood is that it's not gender-specific. Many men have gotten touch-up work done to them over the years to try and make themselves feel like their younger selves, especially on camera, and that even includes the legendary British judge that took over America, Simon Cowell. He, of course, rose to worldwide fame in the original version of America's Got Talent, where he served as the blunt judge to counteract the more positive vibes of co-hosts Randy Jackson and Paula Abdul. While some of it may have been for the show, some of it was just Simon being Simon. However, even he wasn't immune to the pressures of Hollywood and trying to maintain a youthful appearance, especially as his fame grew and he was more in demand, even when he left American Idol to do other shows like X Factor. The problem was that he went too far, and the once rugged British man looked like a shell of his former self. So, much like Courtney Cox, he made the call to have some of what he did undone. It helped, and it showcased that men are just as susceptible as women to the desire of being always youthful looking. Thankfully, his career wasn't truly affected by his decisions, and he remains one of the key judges for America's Got Talent. Number 1. Joan Rivers. While it's true that we could have ended this video with any A-list star that had extensive plastic surgery over the years, there was one name that stuck out to us that said, yeah, we need to have her be the headliner, and that name was Joan Rivers. For those who are too young to remember her impact on the world, she was one of the most dominant female comedians of her age. It didn't matter if she was on TV doing routines, being a host of a late-night show, doing red carpets about fashion, or getting into legendary feuds with other stars. She was known for slicing through people with her comedic chops, and no one was immune to being stabbed by her prowess when she wanted to make a performance happy. If you didn't know, she was on The Apprentice once, and she blasted another contestant for being the worst kind of person just because they were a star poker player. Yeah, we're pretty sure there are worse occupations than that. The problem with Joan was that despite being a natural beauty who had looks that perfectly matched her comedy, she was the godmother of plastic surgery in that she constantly and consistently had work done to her face and body to try and keep her looks youthful. In short, it didn't work, and how she looked in her final years was a far cry from the look that she had starting out in the comedy world and in Hollywood. To her credit, she did admit her faults, even going on to the show Nip Tuck one time to highlight how she was the queen of plastic surgery and getting things done to her. But it also left her with a legacy that was easy to poke fun of, including in a comedian-focused episode of Epic Rap Battles of History, where her portrayal actor noted, "At this point, I've got more plastic than flesh," which technically would be accurate to what Joan was in the final stages of her life. Joan Rivers left a big legacy and big shoes to fill, but she's easily one of the best examples of going too far to try to keep one's youth. And that's all from the realm of Hollywood and all the stars, both past and present, who have had plastic surgery on themselves and the results that came from them. Can you believe that so many stars went under the knife to try and fix themselves, only to make their looks worse over time? What do you feel is the proper lesson to glean from such a video? Or do you know of another star, big or small, that paid the price for trying to improve their looks? Let us know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.